ce soir, it's you and me, c'est quoi? Je suis, maybe, the only one I need. Bonjour, j'adore, you're all I want and more. Ça va, au revoir, it's only un, deux, trois. Un, deux, trois. All night long. We are the wild ones. We only live once. We wanna feel young. All night long, we don't ever wanna stop. C'est moi, ce soir, it's you and me, c'est quoi? Je suis, maybe, the only one I need. Bonjour, j'adore, you're all I want and more. Ça va, au revoir, it's only un, deux, trois. Un, deux, trois. All night long, we are the wild ones.
Hi, my name is Pam Green, and I have been in the entertainment and fashion industry for over 40 years. And along the way, I have met a lot of fabulous people in this fashion and entertainment world, some of which have gone on to be some of my dearest friends. And I would like to share their stories with you. I want people to see the grit, the class, and the strength that it takes to not only be in this industry, but to have longevity in it. I want to give some insight into what life is really like in this business. This world is not all glitz and glamour, but it certainly can be fulfilling and exciting and sexy and open up incredible opportunities in this life. But there's a lot more than what you see behind those pretty faces. I want to share a bit about their lives after the shoot ends, in the dressing rooms, backstage, behind the scenes, at home, and off the runway.
We are the wild ones. We only live once.
I am so happy for you to meet my guest today on Off the Runway. Her name is Mariah Chaney, and she has been in the modeling industry for almost 40 years. Yes, you heard that right. And it will be hard to believe once you see her. She is a single mother of two beautiful grown girls, and she's been kicking butt and taking names on the runway for years. Mariah started her modeling career early in her life at the age of 17, and she was born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. She has been working all over the U.S. and in Houston ever since. She's a force to be reckoned with on and off the runway. Mariah now owns her own runway training company, and she has trained many of the USA pageant contestants from all over the United States. I am so happy and proud to introduce you to my dear friend and partner in crime, Mariah Chaney. Hey, girl.
Hi, Pam.
I am so excited to have you here today on episode 3 of Off the Runway.
I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm so excited.
I am looking forward to just telling everyone that's listening all about your 40 years in modeling.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Oh, that's
40.
incredible. And I told you guys that you are not going to believe how amazing this woman looks if you add the numbers up.
Yeah, we can add them up. Long in the tooth there.
And those numbers just keep going and going.
Absolutely.
I don't, young people, I'm not sure they will realize how fast life just flies by.
It does.
In a blink of an eye.
Absolutely.
I met you, I think we were, I don't even know how old we were.
Oh my gosh, Pam. Oh gosh.
When did you move here to Houston to start modeling?
19.
I was 19, okay.
I was 19.
Wow.
I modeled in New Orleans for about 4 years, and then I moved here at 19, and I kind of missed the fall season, but spring is when I met you.
Okay, well,
So
there you go.
Yeah, I was 19 when I met you.
So that's
long time.
almost 40 years ago. So we've been friends for 38 years and worked together for 38 years.
Absolutely.
And I just want everyone to know that Mariah's made a living at modeling, only doing modeling for her entire life.
Oh
now
God.
she has some little side things she does, but they still are intertwined with modeling and from modeling.
Yes.
And so I just think that's absolutely incredible. You meet a lot of people that have modeled, but not a lot of people that have modeled and only lived off of that money for their entire lifetime.
That is correct.
I mean,
That
your
is correct.
retirement age, honestly, and you have made a living at modeling. I mean, that's absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Stressful.
Stressful
I
as
wouldn't
hell.
I wouldn't recommend it to anybody because I don't think everybody or anybody would want to actually live that way.
Yeah.
not knowing what's going to be there the next week, but it's always there.
Right.
Kind of,
Well, God always, finds a way to bring in that fashion show or whatever that print job is that you need for the next paycheck, because we have a strong relationship with God, and that's one of our strong connections that we have.
Absolutely.
But you have to depend and believe and have faith in order to be in this industry, and go between jobs, slow seasons and busy season. And I'm like you, I've made most of my living at it up until a few years back. And so it's definitely can be a struggle. It can be a huge blessing, and it can be a struggle.
A roller coaster. Yeah, it's a roller coaster.
100%. So I always like to ask everybody the first question, even though I've already been babbling a little bit, is how did you get started in modeling? And do you think that modeling has been an easy or a difficult path? And I think we've already kind of answered some of those questions.
Yeah. Well, I knew at age 7 that I wanted to model. I had seen my mother in a fashion show, and I was like, oh boy, that's it. That's what I'm going to do. And I was tunnel vision. So I called myself a model from the age 7 all the way up until 17. And there I was working at Kmart. And I had my little part-time job, and a lady just walked in and she was like, hey, are you a model? And I was like, yeah, I'm a model.
Is that what you said?
In my head. Yeah, in my head.
But you said out loud, I'm a model.
I said, yeah, I'm a model. Wow. She said, well, there's a fashion show that they are auditioning for in New Orleans. And if you get the fashion show, they'll pay you like $600. She's like, well, could you come to the audition? And I was like, yeah, I have to call my mom to find out if I can do it. And she said, can you call your mom? So here I go. Now this tells my age. For those of you who don't know, that is a rotary phone. And I called my mom and I was like, hey, there's an audition in New Orleans. She's like, yeah, we can go. So I went, and I didn't know what I was doing. I had never auditioned. I just, in my head, from age 7, have called myself a model. And I practiced my walk all the time. And when that opportunity presented itself, I was like, okay, here it goes. And I walked out on that runway. I got it.
Oh, I got the show. Girl. You had never modeled.
I had never been on the runway other than the one in my head.
Incredible.
And I auditioned, and there were probably like 100 girls there. And yeah, they jacked my hair up, and I was okay. I was okay because I was getting paid, and I was fine with that. But the amazing thing was I did my first audition and I got it. That's
incredible.
Yeah, it opened up the windows and just poured out blessings like over and over.
Well, you were 17 and you were like, I just made $600.
I just made $600. And back then, that was a lot of money. That was a lot of money back then. And from that, there was a talent agent at that fashion show, and she was like, her name was Claudia Spiker, and she was in New Orleans, and she was like, hey, I'm interested in you. I would love to sign you. Could you come by my office for an appointment? And I went to meet with her, and she signed me up with her agency, and I started auditioning for commercials and film and music videos. And from there, then there was a modeling agency that was on set, and literally it just took off from there. It was one event led to another and another and another stepping stone. And
I didn't even know that your mom modeled. So I'm this whole time you're talking, all I'm thinking about is, oh my gosh. I mean, I know your mom, but you never told me this story. Yeah. I did not know this. So she was a model as well.
Yeah, she was modeling in Detroit. And I don't know if she didn't have a babysitter one night or something.
Yeah.
And she took us to their fashion show. And I was like, that's my mommy. What is that walk? I'm going to get that walk.
Well, you got that walk, girl. You got that walk. And what does that sound like, bringing the kids to a fashion show?
Us. Always. I am so thankful for my agency and the clients that I've had, because it does take a village. And I mean, we've had to get each other to babysit or we bring our kids with us. And I was fortunate enough that I could bring my girls, and they would just sit in the corner and read a book and do what they were supposed to do so mommy could make her bag.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, you have some incredible kids, because there's no way in hell my son would have set through a fashion show and not like either just knocked down every rack
Oh
or
my goodness.
ran off. But I have seen the girls backstage many a show.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know they're there. They're so quiet and they're so good. They obey you so well. And we'll talk about that later, why they obey you so well.
Oh, yes.
Because that's a whole funny story I want to talk about.
Yes.
It remind me if I don't bring it up. But they're so quiet and good. And you'd be like, oh, the girls are over there. I'd be like, how are the girls? You're like, oh, they're right there doing their homework. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know they were there.
Or reading a book.
Quiet as a mouse.
Mm-hmm. Do what they're supposed to do.
Exactly. So, well, we might as well talk about it now because I think it's so funny that I was just going to bring up the difference between basically, I don't know, me, a white mom, I'm just talking from my experience, to a black mom.
Yeah.
And I laughed and laughed over the years at you because you had, our parenting styles, but we'd be on the phone for hours. We'd just be chatting about work or a job or whatever we were talking about, life and our issues and our problems. And one of the girls would say something or do something or they'd fight or whatever was happening. And Mariah would turn around and she'd be like, I don't know what you thinking. You can see I'm on the phone. Do you want me to pull over right now and I will kick your ass? And then I'd be like, oh, I'm scared. And then Mariah's like, get back. She will. And what were you saying? And I was like, okay, I'm physically upset on the other end of the phone. And she just got right back to the conversation. And I just would always laugh. I was like, well, that's the problem with my child. I didn't have the heavy of a hand.
Yeah. I remember one time Bastrop, when we were in Bastrop, and you had us in this little town. You love grass and I don't, and you love to climb trees and I don't, and you had my daughters out in grass with no shoes on their feet, climbing trees, and they were like, can we do it? Like, oh, yeah.
Yes, I took them to this park, and it was so funny. I don't know why we were hanging out. You probably had to work. And I was like, oh, let's climb in this tree. And they both looked at each other, and they looked at me, and they were like, we can climb in that tree? And I was like, yeah, take your shoes off. Go for it, girl. Climb all up in that tree. They were so excited.
Yeah. And I remember little Dean was throwing a fit about something, and he threw your keys down or something. And I was like, pick them up. He was like, oh, pick them up now. Put those in your mommy's hand right now. Don't you ever do that again. Oh. And you were like, oh, Mariah. And that just comes from a place of having to be mom and dad.
Exactly.
And having to switch that voice around just to get them to do what I need them to do, and respect the fact that I may be on the phone with a client or I may be transacting business. And sometimes I was just probably getting a friend through something that they were going through. Because we all had things going. Mm-hmm. We were all going through stuff at that time. I mean,
as a single mom, you said you have to be the dad and the mom, and that's the truth. And so you play roles you don't want to play.
Absolutely.
It's not that you want to play the masculine and the feminine, but you learn to play both because that's what you feel like you need to do in order to be, both mom and dad all the time. And well, we're going to get to that too, because you've had, a lot of things going on in your life, and you've been a single mom since, Cammie was how old? That's the baby.
So Cam was 3 and Kaylee was 5.
Okay, so 3 and 5. You became a single mom.
Yes.
And then you had to do modeling and support these two beautiful young girls by yourself. Mm-hmm. And that is not easy.
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all.
So going back to, we're going to get back to that, but going back to the modeling. So you start modeling at 17. You just get discovered.
Yes.
And then you are working in, where were you again?
I was working in New Orleans.
Okay.
And I worked in Baton Rouge too, but most of my jobs were in New Orleans. So I would have to take that hour drive up the road and go to New Orleans. And I was doing fashion shows and working for, big designers, because they all come into your city to put on big fashion shows.
Yeah, any big city.
Yeah. And to go back to the question that you asked, was it hard?
Yeah.
It was hard because once I started modeling, I don't believe I didn't have a whole lot of support with family wanting me to do that, because the industry can take you in so many different directions. Mm-hmm. And I believe your family wants to know that you're strong enough to handle what you could be faced with in dealing with this type
Right.
of industry. And so,
And do you think that's why you got a little maybe pushback on it? Because you thought
yeah,
they were scared of what you might have to experience, or that you will just struggle?
I think they were scared that I may get caught up and meet the wrong people
Yeah.
and go down the wrong path.
Right.
And, we all raise our children and we just hope they make the right choices when they get out from
Of
under
age.
of us,
Yeah.
and they have to go out into the world and do what you've taught them to do. And I think when parents don't really know, was like, I think she'll do the right thing.
Right.
So my mom laid down the rules and she was like, hey, never be the last one to leave the party.
Yeah.
Like flat out, don't be the last one to leave.
That is such good advice.
Yeah.
I've actually never heard that because I'm always the last one to leave the party. So if someone had told me that, it saved me a lot of trouble in my life.
A lot of trouble. Yeah. And I had support in the sense of like my grandmother was with me at every show.
Oh, okay.
She would sit out in the lobby and she would read her Bible and I would go in and fashion shows, you're there at like 8 a.m. and you're there until 1, maybe in the afternoon. And she would sit there no matter how long it took just for me to be there. And there were other young models whose grandmothers were there with them because
Wow.
they're there for their protection.
Yeah, yeah.
And they didn't want us to be by ourselves. I can think of several models who.
So the moms were at work, and you think that's why the grandmothers
absolutely
took in that role of, I'm going to go watch out for her while you're
I'm going to go watch out for her. So from, say, 17, 18, 19, my grandmother was always there
so nice.
at my shows waiting for me to finish. So I didn't have to do the drive to New Orleans by myself, and I would have her to come back home. As I got older and life started lifing, I would get pushed back. Why don't you get a real job? As if this is not a real job.
Yeah.
And this is most definitely a real job. At least I always treated it like it was a real job. It wasn't a hobby for me.
No.
So I, at times, would have family members tell me that's not a job. And there's a lot of people in the world right now who will tell you modeling's not a real job.
Right.
To go get a real job. Well, okay, I've raised a family, bought a house.
Yeah. You own a house, you got a car, you got the girls a car.
Yeah.
You've raised 2 beautiful girls by yourself, pretty much. I'm going to go ahead and just tell everybody she raised those kids by herself from that early age. All by yourself, financially and in all other ways. And so I think that's impressive. So for people to say that's not a job, how would you have done that if that wasn't a job? And I've watched the struggle and I want to say this industry can be such a blessing, but also it's a lot of schlepping. You're packing a bag, you're going to a new location, you're packing another bag, you're making sure you have the right brings for each different job, and you're hustling. And I just say one thing about Mariah, she's a hustler.
Oh, yeah.
And
you too.
We were hustling. We had babies at home. And so there's a little bit difference if you're modeling for it on the side and it is a hobby, or you've got someone else in the home, helping to pay bills. Then it can be just like, oh, extra money. I made $500 to do a fashion show. Correct. But when that $500 is going to pay, the phone bill and the electric bill, and it's going to keep those kids in a warm place, then that changes the dynamic of everything.
That's right. Absolutely.
And I also would dare those people that said that's not a job to try it out and actually have to do it, to make a living for 1 year.
1 year.
And you're required to only have that job to pay the bills. I don't think most people could even do it.
Yeah. And make it stretch.
Tough.
And make it stretch and hope and wish and pray that next week is going to be just as great as the week before.
Yeah.
And something would always come up. I was very, very blessed that I had really good clients that hooked me all the time. Now, it's not like that right now. But of course, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Parlayed into other things.
Yes.
But back then, there was constant work, constant getting up at maybe 4:00 in the morning to drive to New Orleans. And then those of us who are parents, now if your children are of school age, you got to have someone else get them on the school bus, pick them up from school, stay with them until you drive back from Dallas or Austin because you had a show or something there, or you drive there for an audition, drive the 4 or 5 hours there, and then do the audition. You're in there all of 10 minutes, if that. gas up your car and drive back home, and then cross your fingers and hope you get it.
Right. Because you actually need that money to pay a bill.
And you will never know if you're going to get it if you don't go try to get it.
And that's another tricky thing about the industry. Like if you are making a living at it, which I also did for, years, you convince yourself, you didn't want to go on some auditions, right? Because they're far, or you're tired, or you've just worked, 14 days straight without a break.
Right.
But then you're like, wait, if I don't go and I don't have the opportunity to get the money, then I can't, help support my family in whatever ways that I need. And so it is a little bit of a tricky part of the industry because it's a constant, sometimes a guessing game. Like, am I going to get the job?
Yes.
Should I go on audition? Do I have enough money to spend on the gas? Can I get a babysitter? And so there's a lot of juggling, I'd say, that goes on in this industry that people don't know about.
Right.
Because, if they're going to think that modeling is just a fluffy little job, then you really don't know anything about modeling.
They do not have a clue. When I'm teaching modeling, I give them stories from my past that I have had to deal with. And I tell them, hey, all money ain't good money.
No.
You don't need to work for everybody.
That's right.
You really want to work for the people who want you there. If they don't want you there,
see ya.
See ya.
Yeah.
Okay. Because when you walk into a booking and now we have the saying, life is lifing. Okay.
Yeah.
When life is lifing for us, the last thing I need is to go into a booking and feel worse than I felt when I walked in.
Right.
I need to feel as good as I felt when I walked in, if
That's
not
right.
better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully you'd feel better.
Yeah.
But I mean, and the clients booked you over and over, not just because you were a nice person, but it's because you did a great job and because you are a kick ass on the runway. And when I say she's kick ass on the runway, I mean, you have to see Mariah walk. I mean, I wish, you know what? I'll see if I can find a video of you walking and maybe we can insert that into the podcast because.
Oh, girl, I hope it's a good one.
Oh, girl, it's going to be good if I post it. But I've never seen you walk bad. So you are an amazing walker on the runway. And even as a seasoned model like myself and other seasoned models that I've seen, when you walk on that runway, all eyes on you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
I mean,
you.
it's impressive. I mean, you just have a sass and a swagger about you and a sexy way that you walk that just, commands attention.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you've had such longevity, in the industry. And people want you back again and again because that sells clothes.
Yeah.
And it's so incredible to hear that you've been doing that since you were 7, practicing at least.
Oh yeah.
Working on that walk.
When I moved to Texas.
And when was that? And why did
gosh,
you move to Texas?
My sister had moved here. She got married and she moved to Texas, and she and I would listen to we'd watch the stories, the soap operas on the phone. And back then you were charged for long distance. And so
that's right.
my mom was like, you can move there if you wanted to. And I was like, really? And my sister was like, I was at the mall and they had models doing fashion shows there and someone gave me their card. And she started talking to me about moving. But the scary part about that is leaving a bird in the hand.
Right.
Or a bird in the bush.
Right.
And I was a little afraid, but I had spoken to someone that was modeling here, and I was like, yeah, maybe I should go. And so I got here like the day after Christmas, 1990, and the day after Christmas. Of course, there are no shows going on.
That's when we met then.
Yeah.
That's right when we met because I moved to LA in 1990.
Okay. Yeah.
But I remembered you very well when I came back for a hot second, in between going back to LA. Had been in Europe modeling and I came to Houston and stayed and worked for a while. And that's when I saw you again. I'm like, hey.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Always sweet. Yeah. Always a doll.
Thank you.
And so when the spring season came up and then I had my shot. It was like, okay, I was sending letters to clients. I was just trying to get my foot in the door. And actually it was Lenny Matazuski who gave me my first opportunity.
Good old Lenny.
Yeah. And
he's been dipped in formaldehyde.
Yes. He looks so good.
We talked about it on the last podcast, and I laughed because when I went back and watched, I'm like, that's not normal. And Dinah's like, that's not normal. And then I'm like, what did we say?
He has been dipped. He looks so good all the time.
All the time.
I'm always like, do you ever have a bad day? Like, I want to be like you when I grow up. I want to look that good.
I'm pretty sure you are, like Mariah.
I don't know, girl. Well, but so when I moved here and they started recording the shows. So I wasn't always as flawless as I may be now on the runway, full disclaimer. There was one little part of me that was a little loosey-goosey, and it was my arms.
Oh.
They were like noodles. They were all over the place. And I didn't know that because in Louisiana, they never really recorded any of the shows.
Never said anything.
No one ever said anything to me because remember, from 7 to 17, I practiced my walk, but no one got me
trained up.
Yeah. No one like polished me up. I didn't think I needed polishing up, but everybody could use a little polishing up,
100%.
And I was given a videotape, several videotapes of the fashion shows from that spring
by
season.
Who? By your agent?
Madison.
Oh, by Lenny?
And he was like, Mariah,
I'm loving this story.
He was like, I have some fashion shows for you. And he was like, I just love you on the runway. But if we could just like bring the arms in a little bit. I was like, arms?
Did he say it like that?
Yeah. He said, I'm saying with love. This is with love. And he gave me like 3 cassettes, VHS cassettes. Yeah. So that also tells our age, right? And so I get home and I'm like, arms? What's he talking about?
You're like, whatever.
I don't know what he's talking about. I know my walk is on point.
Oh my gosh.
So I go and I put the VHS in the thing and I push play and I'm like, oh, I'm not in that scene. I didn't open the show. So someone else, and I'm watching. And then all of a sudden my scene comes up and I was like, ew. Oh. Oh no. And I was like, so yeah, my arms needed to be brought in just a little bit. They were just a little loosey-goosey.
Yeah.
They were a little loosey-goosey. And so that made me start to watch the other models. And I will tell you who got me all the way together was Marilyn Smith.
Okay.
And now
love Marilyn.
Olajuwon.
Yes.
She is to me the runway.
Yeah, she was amazing.
Queen, goddess. Oh, I love her look. And I watched her on the runway and I was like, oh, that's what it should look like. And so I just watched her and I studied her and she got me all the way together.
Do you remember Todd Strozier?
Absolutely.
Okay, that's who I watched.
Really?
Oh, I just thought on the runway she was so fierce.
Yes, I miss her.
No. She passed away.
She did.
Okay.
God bless her.
But she was so fierce on the runway and just so something about her. But she commanded attention too.
She was a part of that crop of girls.
And when we started, and I will say this, and I don't know if you remember this because I distinctly remember this. I also first runway show was Lenny Maniszewski.
Okay.
And it was a bunch of older girls.
Yes.
And what's funny is I'm saying older girls. They were probably 40 or 36 or 40. And I thought they were older. And of course, I'm like 16, 17.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember he used a group of these older women that kind of retired shortly thereafter at some point. But he would use them over and over again and then throw in like one young person.
Yeah.
So now when I think back on it, sometimes I'm like, what a blessing that I was able to walk with these like 15 seasoned older veterans.
Absolutely.
And then had the opportunity not only to walk with them, but to learn from them.
Absolutely.
And that's what you have to do as a young model is, you see young models come in and I'm sorry, but sometimes they're like, my shit don't stink.
Yeah.
They already think they're all that. And what they need to be doing is watching the veterans.
Absolutely.
And taking some notes.
Just sit back and watch because when you observe, then you can pick up the things that you're not. I mean, I see some of them show up and I'm just like,
yeah.
But if you watch some of the older girls, it will give you a schematic of what you should be doing or pull someone aside. I get phone calls all the time. Mariah, can you help me with this? Mariah, can you tell me how to handle this? Can you watch my walk? Can you critique my walk? How do I carry a bag on the runway? How do I take a jacket off on the runway? That's something that a lot of models don't even really know how to do.
Right. Well, they don't learn it. They don't think that's a skill they need to learn. But it's so important. All those little things are so important. It's funny you mentioned arms. And one of the reasons, like you said, we didn't have a lot of, nowadays everyone videotapes everything with their phone, right?
Yes.
So cell phones are everywhere.
Right.
But we started in the 80s. And so there was no cell phones, okay? We had pagers at some point.
That's right.
That popped in at some point in the early 90s.
And we kept change in our pockets for the
right, you had change because you had to stop it. You had to pull over to the side of the road. I can remember my pager going off, beep, beep, beep. It's always your agent, it was nobody else.
Yep.
And you're on the freeway and you're like, oh my gosh, you had to pull off, find a payphone. You got to make sure you got a quarter. Yeah. And then you'd call the agent,
because if it was 911, that means you had another booking.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and it was
so
always
you couldn't miss it.
Yeah. It was almost always 911.
Always 911.
So you put you in a frantic stage to find a payphone, which is just hysterical. I mean, did payphones even exist? I don't think they exist anymore.
I don't even think they exist anymore. I don't even think our kids would know how to use a payphone.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I told you Dean got in a car the other day and it was a roll-up window. It wasn't the other day, but it was years ago. And he was like, where's the window thing? I'm like, it's that knob on the door.
Hey, get your arm
You roll it and it opens it up. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So, but speaking of arms again, I got off tangent, but also same thing. Yeah. My arms were all over the place and I did not know either.
Yeah.
Because people did not have cell phones and people were not recording you. You did not record yourself.
Yes.
And no one had ever told me. And I was also working and I went to LA and I saw a videotape, a good old VHS videotape.
Yes.
I don't know what you call it anymore. And I saw it and I was like, oh, my arms. What the hell? My arms were just kind of, again, all over the place, swinging around. Yep. And I was horrified because it was like a pretty big fashion show. And I was just like, oh, I'm so embarrassed.
Yeah, I was mortified.
Yeah.
That was the whole season he gave me. Like, that was in the spring. He gave me the whole season. And I was like,
wow.
Oh my.
Yeah.
No one ever told me.
Yeah. Well, I blame it on, we didn't have technology.
Yeah.
If we didn't have technology, you learn that stuff so much faster.
So fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
He got me all the way together, girl.
Yeah.
I was good after that. I was like, okay, I need to watch somebody. Who is it? Oop, it's her.
It's
there.
Her.
Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I was watching Todd.
She gave me my first pair of, back then we called them potassoir pumps. She gave me my first pair.
I don't remember that word, potassoir.
She handed them.
I think you're older than me. No, I'm joking.
Yeah. Yeah, I love her though. She's a dream. I just love her. Yeah.
And so you came here and just started working right away, working for the best, Lenny. And then you worked. And when did you get married or decide to have babies? When did that happen?
When did I get married? Okay, so I was having the best career ever. And if you're working
what'd you
model,
go and have a kid for?
Well, I didn't plan it. It just kind of happened. I was literally going to pack my stuff up and put it in storage, and I was on my way to South Africa.
Oh.
I was going to go to South Africa, and I was going to do the thing because at that time, that was where people were going. That was in 1996.
I was there. I think I was there in 1996.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm going to head on over to South Africa and build up my portfolio. And I had gone to New York a couple of times. And I just felt like if I got a better portfolio, things would just continue to just grow for me.
Right.
And, I went to a pit stop in Atlanta and I worked every day in Atlanta. And then I started feeling a little weird. And I was like, I don't feel good. I don't know what it is. And then I came home and to Texas after, I think I was probably there like 3-4 months. And I came back home and I was like, I don't know what's going on. And then one of my friends that I was modeling with, and I didn't know anything yet. She said, Carriola.
Carrie, of course. Yeah.
Carrie's like,
she's so...
Mariah, you're glowing. What's up with you? What's going on?
She's so funny.
You're glowing.
I see her every once in a while.
Do you really? And I was like, am I? And it still never dawned on me.
Yeah.
And then one day I was like, I better go get one. So I went to get
go check.
Yeah, I went to go check. And they had 2 in the little package thing. So it was like, instantly it turned positive. And I was like, started crying. I was grown, but I started crying.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I got to do it again. I'm going to have to pee again.
Yeah.
Because that's not right.
Yeah.
I know
that
that's
has to
not
be
right.
wrong.
So then I took another one. And again, it said I was. And then I went to the store and I bought 2 more boxes. So there I was. I had sticks all through my hand and they all said positive. And I was like, I'm not going to South Africa. I can't go to South Africa.
I'm not modeling over this next year.
How am I, and instantly we earn our living with this. And when this is going to change, what is going to happen with that? And
it's scary.
Very scary. So I was trying to keep it a secret. I only told a few models. But at a point I had to tell my agent because I was being put on jobs that were a little bit different than normal bookings, but very long. And I was like, hey, you might have to get somebody else tomorrow to do this job because it was a quilt show. And I don't know if you've ever done those quilt
100%.
shows. And they had just started. And they had not fallen under Lenny's umbrella yet. So it wasn't very organized. And it was just a long day. And I was like, yeah, could you get someone else? What's going on? Girl, I'm pregnant. I was telling Peggy, girl, I'm pregnant. She's like, are you? She's like, are you? And I was like, yeah, I'll come and talk to you about it. And yeah, so then more and more people.
Peggy's probably going to see this.
Yes,
You're
more
so
and more people started to find out about it. And the one person I did not want to find out was Joan Wilson at Neiman's.
Yeah.
Because
you made a lot of money at Neiman's.
I made a lot of money at Neiman's. And I did not want to
stop working
so soon. And once she found out you were pregnant, she got it in her head. Your body has changed immediately in her eyesight. And so, so as soon as she found out, I got canceled for all of my shows for that season. And I was just like, womp, 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 womp. I just felt like my world caved in.
Yeah, of course.
And then...
Because that's so much money and you're depending on it.
So much money. And it's like, let me work as long as I can. But, I kind of opened my mouth maybe a little too soon. I maybe should not have told everyone.
Maybe you should have just been exhausted on those long shoots.
Yeah, I should have just toughed it out, you know, but I didn't. So anyway, such is life. However, my print clients were like the ace boom coon. I worked doing print up until I was a good 7 months pregnant.
Perfect.
I did not pop until I was 7 months. And you pop at a certain point. And they just changed. Like Chris Rodriguez was art director at Oshman's or Academy. Oshman's, I think it was.
I think it was Oshman's at first.
And then he start pulling the athletic wear and all of the skimpy stuff. He just started putting me in sweats and t-shirts and
a big sundress,
whatever it was. He just pulled me bigger things. Mariah's going to shoot this. Mariah's going to shoot that. So he knew. And one day the photographer, I was doing ski wear and he was like, I need you to angle a little off the camera. So I swung my legs and he looked, he said, are you pregnant? And I was like, yes.
So you already had a little bump, but you kept it hidden.
I had a bump, but
a certain
dead
angle,
on.
Dead on. You didn't
see
of course, yeah.
But when he asked me to go a little bit off camera, then I kind of angled and he was like, are you pregnant? He was like, this is your last shoot. And I was like, okay, because I'm 7 months.
You're like, I'll take it. I made it this far.
Yeah.
I think I was 6 or maybe 5 or 6 months. I popped really good at 6 months.
Okay.
And Lenny knew it. I told him, and it was some big designer from like, I don't know, Spain or something.
Yeah.
And those samples came in, and I don't think people realize what happens with this first collection of samples.
Yes.
They get put on the girls for the first show, whether the first show of that new collection,
that's right.
Let's say it's in Paris.
Yes.
Or, or it's in Milan, or it's in New York. They fit those little size 4s or whatever they were onto these tiny little prepubescent girls. This is what I call them.
Yes.
They haven't developed boobs. Their hips are usually really straight. There's no body. And then they'll size them down to a 0 or a 2.
Exactly.
Well, they brought in these samples and they had been sized down to like a 0.
Oh my goodness.
They had some little bitty girls, I guess, doing that original show, and
Yeah.
I couldn't even get the first outfit zipped. And I walked over to Lenny and I was like, I think it's time. I think someone else should come in here and fill in for me.
Oh.
And I was about to. I was backstage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Well, I mean, we were fitting or something in another room,
Okay.
but he said, "Yeah, you can go ahead and go home."
Oh.
Yeah, but
and I
he
know
was
that,
going to try, but it was heartbreaking because they were
Yes.
tiny, and you just feel fat.
You
Sorry,
feel-
I just felt fat,
You feel fat.
even though you're
yeah.
pregnant.
Even though you're pregnant, yeah.
But
It was tough. And once I was sitting at home, like not being in the mix of what I've
that's
always
hard.
done, that was really, really hard. And kind of going through my pregnancy, kind of sort of by myself, not totally by myself, but still kind of
right,
sort of by myself. And I was just like, bring this little girl here, hurry up and get her
Yeah.
here, just get her here. And 3 weeks later, after I had her, I was back working at Neiman's.
there you go. You
3
go,
weeks
girl.
later. And as like most people take 6 weeks off,
Yeah,
to heal after they had their baby. But I got that phone call and they were like,
Mhm.
Mariah, they need boobs. And I was like, I got boobs. Let's do it. So I was back at Neiman's working, and I only
but you were
gained-
tiny though too.
I was
so
tiny
So
then,
Mariah
yeah.
always was really, really thin, which obviously led to
Yeah.
this world of modeling. And
Yeah.
she pretty much does nothing and has this body. I'm going to go ahead and say it. And every once in a while, she's like, I need to lose 5 pounds. And I'll say, well, if you would just walk 20
I
minutes,
know.
3 days a week, you'd probably lose your 5 pounds you want to lose. But I think it's funny because you've never really done
No.
much of anything, and you've
No.
stayed thin and model-esque your whole entire
Yeah.
career, which is also incredible.
But weird, right?
Yeah, it's so weird.
It's
So
like-
it doesn't surprise me you were back to work.
Yeah.
But so then you squirt out another baby.
Yeah.
And let's just go ahead and throw it out there with the same guy.
Yeah.
And then how long after 3 years after that, then you got a divorce?
And then we got a divorce.
Okay.
Yeah. It was
Good.
like, yeah,
Sayonara.
I'm waving the white flag. I tap me out.
Yeah.
Tap somebody else in here.
Yeah, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then but literally I was doing what I've always done.
I know.
I was
Still modeling,
It
still
was
being the mom.
still mom, still doing it all.
Yeah.
The only thing is I lost some baggage,
Right.
I just lost some baggage.
Well, you lost that third kid.
Yeah. There you
Yeah,
go. Yeah.
that's-
Lost
yeah.
that suitcase.
Yeah. Monk.
Yeah.
That was a heavy suitcase.
Oh, heavy suitcase. Yep. I
Yeah.
lost that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then you did it on your own. Anyway, I'm super impressed by you. And I'm always in awe that you've raised, 2 kids on your own, single woman in the modeling industry.
Yeah.
That is super impressive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then I want to talk to you about what it is you love about modeling. So I know it's been a blessing to you, and I know that modeling has been, obviously you've made a living at it, but what are some of the things about modeling in and of itself that you love or that has brought good things into your life? Like little things, big things, whatever.
I think the most thing that I have gained from being in this career is the friendships that I have acquired, the relationships that I've built with clients. I mean, I have one client, and I talk about Lenny so much, but he is such a doll. He really is. I remember when my grandmother died.
Yeah.
He stayed on the phone with me.
Are we about to cry?
I'm not going to cry.
Okay,
I
good.
promise I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. But he stayed on the phone with me for like 3 hours talking to me, just letting me vent, letting me cry, he stayed on the phone with me. He has been around, and so has my agents. They have all been around for every event that has ever happened in my life.
Yeah.
They helped me with my divorce. They know that was a very difficult time for me.
Right.
At one point, I started to lose too much weight just from the stress.
Yeah.
And here I was 5'11", and a size 0. Probably a double 0. And our clients, they know our bodies so well. They know when we're healthy. They know when we're not. And I can remember getting undressed and there's my boy, Lenny. He does he looked.
Uh-oh.
And
you got worried.
I saw the worry in his face.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I got to get it together. I have to get it together.
Yeah.
And as soon as I got my divorce, as soon as my divorce was final, I could inhale and exhale, and then I could start to recover and get my life back, get find what I was going to have to do, what my new normal was going to be like. But so building the relationships with my clients that have lasted 40 years, where and the friendships like you've been my friend for forever.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've cried together, we've laughed together, we have been there for each other through so many things. And that has been the pleasure, building these friendships and relationships that will last a lifetime, and it's sad now that we've built these relationships, and now people that we've modeled with are starting to pass away.
Oh, I know.
And so Steve Wood.
Yeah.
And I mean, he was always larger than life for me. Like he was always that guy that you wanted to work with. It was like, oh my God, it's Steve Wood. I mean, every time he walked into a room, everyone was like, oh my God, it's Steve Wood.
Yeah.
Steve Wood is here. He's here. I'm working with him. Oh my God. It was like you were working with magic that day. And I have had many conversations with him on the phone. He's another person that you'd get on the phone with, and you'd be on the phone with him for 3 hours. Yeah. Just talking about life. And he will forever be missed. He's touched my life. And anyone who has truly known him, he touched their life in a way that he will never be forgotten. So I just kind of want to throw that in there.
100%. So Steve Wood was a big model back in the 80s and early 90s. And he was a gorgeous, beautiful African-American man. Beautiful. And you couldn't miss him. I mean, and he worked for a long time, and he just passed away of cancer. And Mariah and him were very dear friends. And I, of course, worked with him and was friends with him as well. But you guys remained friends all these years, all the way up until, when did he pass away? This week, right?
This week, I believe it was maybe the 14th of October.
Yeah, so sad.
Very sad, very sad.
But crazy that at this age, I feel like we're so young.
Yeah, the older I get, the younger I think it is.
Yeah,
I'm 56. Right? I make no qualms about telling my age. I'm 56 years old. And the older I get, it's like, man, that's young. When I hear people passing away that's this age, or in their 60s, or even in their 70s, I'm like, man, that's young. You just think that there's so much more life left to live. Yeah. When some of my family members live to be 90 in their 90s.
Right. And 100 people are living to be 100 all the time now. Yeah. And on that note, I poured you a glass of wine.
Oh, thank you.
I just thought you might need that at this particular moment.
Yes.
And again, this is a cameraman Will's gift to us. And we totally forgot about it. It's been sitting there the whole time. Cheers, girl. I'm so happy to have you here. But speaking of friendships, that's also one of the big, giant blessings I feel like that this industry has brought in. Absolutely. Hopefully that's the same in most industries, that the friendship is the important part. Yeah. But in this industry, that backstage is a time for you to catch up. Yes. You to talk about what's wrong, what's not wrong. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of times in this industry, we're so busy. Mm-hmm. I know other people think they're busy, but you're so busy in this industry, sometimes schlepping around and running that the time to have those friendship moments is just backstage. Yes. Behind the scenes, backstage, waiting for the camera to roll. That's right. And that's the only sad thing when you get a little older and you stop working as much. Yeah. We both still work. Yeah. But we don't work as much. Right. And I'll see the girls all doing stuff. And for me, it's not at all like, oh, I want the job. It's like, I'm missing out on the fun. Yes. And all the joy backstage and just hanging out with my friends. Yes. Because new girls are coming in, but they're not part of that strong crew of friends. No. They're all friends, but they're not a part of that, what you've created over the years, those people that have had longevity. Right. So I miss a little bit of that sometimes when I don't do it as much now. Yeah. But that definitely, I would say, is one of the biggest blessings. Mm-hmm. Anything else that you just love about the industry that's brought joy to your life?
The travel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, the travel. Yes. The travel. I've been to some beautiful places. Oh my God, I've woken up to some beautiful places. Like, oh my God, and pinch myself. Am I dreaming? Yeah. I've had horror stories. Yes. I was just going to say, so tell me about
I know at least 2 horror stories that have happened to you in your life. There's a lot of crazy things that have happened to Mariah.
Yes.
She's got some funny stories, but I want to hear about, this is on a modeling job, right?
Yeah.
Both of them were on modeling gigs. So
Yeah.
just take me from, the beginning and tell me about one of these situations you got in.
Okay. So would you like to hear about the haunted house?
Let's do the haunted house.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here we go. Oh, our haunted hotel.
Haunted hotel.
The
Yes.
haunted hotel.
Yes.
It's called the Crescent Moon Hotel,
Mm.
and it's in Arkansas.
Okay, that's already scary.
Yes. So I got booked to work for Walmart, and it was in
Okay.
Arkansas.
Big deal. Big job.
Big deal, yeah. It's going to pay really well, all about the coins, right?
Yeah.
And they brought models in from California, Dallas, and then in Houston. So, they flew us in and they picked us up at the airport, put us in a 15-passenger van. And so I had my little earbuds in my ear listening to Ice Cube. You can do it, put your back into it. You can do it. And I'm just jamming out. And then the guy sitting behind me is from California. And he was like, "Hey, dude, I heard the hotel is haunted." And I was like, "What you say?" What you say? Look, I didn't have it up that loud.
If y'all knew Mariah, y'all would know what a big deal this is, okay?
Right. What you say? And so he said the hotel is haunted. And I was like, yeah, quit playing. I was like, I know he's joking. He has to be joking. So I put my earbuds back in and I'm steady just jamming out to my music. And we pull up to this hotel and I'm like, Did you say it was haunted?
Because then you were looking.
Yeah, because I'm looking and it just didn't. It had a feeling to it. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we go into the hotel, we get our bags and we walk around and the hotel it had this feel to it, almost like The Shining.
Yeah.
A little bit. Gosh. Had that feel to it. And they give us our rooms and I'm in a room by myself and they give us these big, huge keys. Like they weren't skeleton keys or anything. They're just like big keys. Like they just didn't. Y'all don't have the little card thingy? The card thingy? Why do y'all not have a card thingy?
Why do you have these old school keys?
Why do you have these old school
What's
keys?
going on?
Like, what is that? Right? So 3 of us are on one particular side of the hotel. So we're doing a walk up. The walls are velvet. Literally, you felt like you were in The Shining. There was no elevator. We went up the stairs to get to our floor. 3 flights, I believe. So we get up there and we're walking down the hallway. The rooms are so close together that it literally looks like a horror movie when you look down a hallway and it looks like it's getting longer. As if you're walking down, it just looks like it's getting longer because the doors are all close together. And we get down to the hallway and then there's another wing like that. We get down there. It just doesn't feel right.
Feels odd.
Okay. And in the back of my mind,
you're still thinking about what that guy said.
I'm still thinking about dude, and he's with us.
Yeah.
So it's him and the other girl from California, and then me. And why are we the only ones on this side of the hotel? Okay, so somebody had jokes. Clearly, they had jokes. We get to my room. They drop me off at my room, and I put the key in, and I close the door. I go on in. I said, "Thank y'all. See y'all in the morning." And I'm a big girl. I can, So I get in my room and I turn to lock the door. Tell me why there's like a lock and a lock and a lock and a lock. Why are there so many locks on the door? Okay. That makes no sense. This is supposed to be a hotel. So let me just lock and lock and lock and lock all the locks, right? So I lock all the locks. And I sit on the bed and I'm like, yeah, this doesn't feel right. But I need to take my shower because I'm all about being professional. I want to be up in the morning and fresh to get hair and makeup done so I can shoot my Walmart stuff, right?
Yeah.
I can shoot my little
Big
Walmart
job.
stuff, okay? They're paying us very well to be there, mind you. All of a sudden, you hear blood-curdling screams. Open the door! You hear people running down the hallway. it's the two people that just dropped me off at my room, and they are on my door. Open the door! Open the door! Open the door! Open the door! And I'm like, click, 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 click. What's wrong? They run in the room, and the guy's like, I know I don't know you, but I'm sleeping in here tonight. And I was like, okay, what's wrong? And the girl is saying, something's in my room. Something's in my room. Girl, what do you mean something's in your room? She was like, something's in my room. Something's in my room. When we opened my door, something shot across the room and sat on the bed.
What?
Sat on the bed. I said, girl, what do you mean sat on the bed? She said, something's sitting on the bed. Come and look. So we leave my bedroom door
Now,
open.
why in the hell would you go back to
Girl, because I was with the white people and they were going to go look.
But that's not like you.
I know, but they said something sat on the bed, so I gotta go look.
You gotta look.
Although I know black people go first, but they were walking ahead of me. They were walking ahead of me, so I was like, okay. We walk down that little, because it's like, so my room's here, and then there's like this little hallway, but that long hallway is that way.
I'm nervous.
So I just walk right over. We walk right over to their room, and the door is already open, and no lie. The second bed in the room had a big indentation in it, and the cover, like if a heavyset person was sitting there, it looked like a person was sitting on the bed.
Right.
There was a dip in the mattress.
Like right at that moment.
No, we're already sitting there. The dip was in the mattress, and the comforter had wrinkles in it.
Yeah.
As if someone sat
and got up
on the bed. They were still sitting.
Oh, they were still sitting there.
We just couldn't see them.
Oh.
It was still sitting there. That was enough for me.
Yeah.
Okay. The dip in the bed told me somebody with a nice was sitting there. And I was like, I was hauling it back to my room. They were on my heels. We got in that room and it was like click, 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 click. Lock the door.
No PJs, no toothbrush. You didn't care.
They brought their luggage in because they never took it in. When they opened the door, something went across the room and sat on the bed and was still sitting there when they got there. Okay. So then they come back to my room. I'm cool. Hey, y'all stay in here with me. There's 2 beds in the room. Okay. I said, I just need to take my shower. I'm not going to even shut my door all the way. Okay. But don't leave. Don't leave me in here. Y'all stay in this room. They're like, we're not going anywhere. We're going to stay here. We're not even taking showers. They're not going to take showers. Right. Okay. I take my shower. I come out of the room and I get in the bed that's closest to the window, and they're at the bed by the door. Tell me why I moved the curtain, and Pam, the tree branch had grown through the window and was spread out behind the curtain. Now, I don't do bugs. Now, that tree has some bugs in it, right? Now, I must not have had many options
some bugs
to stay in that bed with the tree branch that had grown through the window, and it's in the room behind the curtain. Okay. It is behind the curtain. And I'm sitting there. So I'm like, okay, let me get my scarf. Cause now I got to cover my ears up. I'm like,
a bug might crawl. Yeah.
Bug might crawl in my ears. Right. My back is turned. We have the TV on, but the light is off, but the TV is on. So I turn my back and I fall asleep, and they fall asleep. When I roll over and I open my eyes, there is a man standing in the corner with a black suit on. He is buttoned up. He has a little tie that went like that on the button-up shirt. It was a little black tie that went like that. And he had a top hat on. And I'm looking, and girl, I let out a scream that I didn't even know I had in my body. I start screaming. They start screaming. He disappears.
Yeah.
He was in the corner. I know what I saw, okay? I know what I saw. And I was like, can I curse?
Yeah.
Well, I be damned. I said, well, I be damned. got a black woman in a haunted hotel, and the man that was doing experiments on people is in the corner.
Wait, how do you know he was doing experiments on people?
I didn't find out till yesterday. I didn't find out until the next day. I'm getting there.
Oh.
Okay. Didn't know that.
What in the heck?
Didn't know that, right? Okay. So I roll over. At this point, we put all the lights on in the room. Bathroom light, top light. We're going to leave all the lights on. TV on, everything stays on. Okay. So we fall back to sleep. But we're all freaked out. The girl, she's under the covers, fully dressed. The guy says, I'm going to sleep on top of the covers. He's laying on his stomach. We're all asleep. He starts screaming, wakes both of us up like a girl. He is screaming. It is the most high-pitched scream that you don't want to hear from a man ever. He lost it. He said, something just drug its nails down my fucking back. And we're like, no, are you serious? He had marks down his back. His back.
This is crazy.
So now we're up.
Oh, we're not going to sleep. You should have got up a long time ago.
We're not going to sleep.
Yeah.
We're sitting up in the bed. We're waiting for it to become daylight so we can leave and go down and change our room.
I would have checked out, girl.
Least. Okay. Well, I didn't want to mess up my paper. I didn't want to make waves. And the art director wasn't there.
Yeah.
We don't even know where they were. They just got us to the hotel and left. And we're supposed to start shooting the next day.
Yeah.
So we all get up. We peek out of the room. We walk out of the room. We go to her room because we want to see if that bed still looks like it looked the night before.
If the lady's still sitting there.
That bed was flat.
Oh my gosh.
Nothing had ever sat there. There was no wrinkles on the spread. It was flat. But remember, it had that indentation in it. Had a dip in it. Yeah.
I got to write this hotel down before we leave tonight.
The Crescent Moon Hotel.
Oh, Crescent Moon, okay.
You can read up on it. You can see what it looked like before they remodeled it. But I'm good off of I'm off that. Mm-hmm. I don't ever need to go there again.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I'm good.
No, I want to write it down so I never, ever go there.
Oh, my goodness, girl. So we go down the hallway with all the red velvet, like on The Shining. Red room, red room, red room. That's what it just reminds you. If I would have seen a kid on a tricycle, I would have lost it.
Red room.
I would have lost it, okay? So we get downstairs and we go back over to where you check in for your room. And there's a lady there. And I said, ma'am, I need to get another room. She said, what's wrong with your room? And I said, I saw something in my room and she saw something in her room and then something drug its nails down his back. And yeah, I'm going to need another room. I can't stay in that room. She said the whole hotel is haunted and it doesn't matter where you stay. You're going to see something.
Is that what she said?
That's what she said. She kind of had a little stank with it, too.
She had a little attitude.
She's
like, look, girl, that place
is
haunted.
Like, girl, look, you better keep that room you got. And I was like, no, you're going to have to give me another room. And she said, what did you see in the room? And so I described this man to her in the room. She said, you mean him? She was looking at me. She said, you mean him? So I look up and girl, it's dude. He was the doctor that did the experiments on people. He was doing cancer treatment on people, experimenting on them.
Oh my gosh.
And got caught.
He's on a portrait above her head?
He's on a portrait, girl, yes, with the little black suit. He was sharp. He was clean. He was casket sharp, girl, yeah. But he had the little top hat on. He had the little button-up shirt, and he had the little tie thing right there. I mean, he was a aristocrat. Aristocrat. He looked legit.
Right.
He looked legit, but that was him.
On that
She
photo.
said, you mean him? And I look up and I said, girl, I can't. I'm not going to be able to stay in that room. Like, that's his room. Clearly, that's his room.
Yeah.
I'm going to need another room. So she gives me another room on the opposite end of the hotel.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And we never shot at all. We got paid to be there for 2 days.
What do you
and
mean you
we
never shot?
Girl, the people, the ghost hunters were there from that TV show,
Right.
Scariest Hotels, Scariest Haunted Places or whatever. They were there filming. And so...
But why do you shoot?
Well, we didn't shoot because I don't know why. But, we were just hanging around waiting for the art director to tell us to go get our clothes on or whatever. And this is
Never
what we're
happened.
going to wear. No one did hair and makeup. They were just, I think because of the fact that the place was haunted, they were so engrossed with that we never shot. I got paid $2,000 a day to not shoot
heck is going
for
on?
Walmart.
Yeah.
Because of the haunted hotel. So while we're telling the lady at the front desk what we experienced in our room, the guy from that one of the cameramen, he said, "Yeah, y'all staying on the whatever lower end of the hotel or down on
Lower
this
end.
Yeah. And we're like, yeah. He said, "Yeah, I changed my room too. Something drug its nails down my back." And he was in that girl's room. That's the room he was in.
Oh my gosh.
So, see, somebody had jokes and thought it'd be funny
to stick y'all over there.
Us over there.
Y'all were probably being secretly filmed.
And probably so.
I bet you were.
And that was the hotel. They said that is the hottest spot in the hotel. Even the dogs won't go down on that end of the hotel.
But they sent you guys.
But they're going to send us down there.
That was not cool.
That was not
That was not cool.
That was not cool.
Now, I did stay in some haunted hotel in Louisiana for a modeling gig. I can't remember what it was, but I did stay there at a haunted place. And I definitely remember weird stuff happening, but I don't know if it was that one. I think maybe they just screw with models. If you go there to do a modeling gig, they're going to put you in there so they can listen to funny stories the whole next day.
I'll tell you, I'm glad I had that experience.
Yeah.
It was funny. It's funny now. It wasn't so funny then.
Yeah.
Because it was really haunted. I mean, and the guy, he was like, "I'm going to go down to the basement." And that's where they were. That at one place, it was a morgue down at the bottom of the hotel, like in the basement of the hotel. And he was like, "I'm going to do an excursion. This is all in the van while we're on our way to the hotel.
Right.
He's going to do this. He's going to do that." He didn't do any of that.
No.
He was like, I'm done. I that experience, I don't ever want to experience that again.
He actually got scared.
He got scared.
Yeah.
We got scared straight.
He was talking a big game and he got there and he was like, "Yep.
Yeah.
I'm scared to death."
Yeah, because it was real.
Yeah.
It was real.
Yeah.
So if anyone tells you that hotel is not haunted, it is not true.
They're lying. I'm never even going on the same block.
Yeah, that hotel is haunted.
Yeah,
now,
crescent moon.
It would be fun though. No,
it would not. So I went to a haunted house with Mariah.
Oh God.
And I think I still have a freaking scar on my back from it, okay? So we go to this haunted house, and she's like, I want to go. Well, I hate haunted houses, and I'm scared to death of anything that looks funky. And she's like, "Come on, please." And so I'm like, fine. So it was us and Landon, my ex-boyfriend, and he was a model.
Yeah.
And he said, "Fine, I'll take you girls down to this haunted house." Well, apparently it's like the scariest haunted house in all of Houston.
Yes.
Again, I hate them. I don't like them. We get in there, not 2 minutes into that haunted house, there's some midget. And I like midgets, but this was a midget with like a scary mask and a big ball with spikes all over it. And he was just hitting that ball on the ground. And we had to go past him.
Yes.
I lost my mind.
We couldn't go past him.
No.
Didn't. I think Landon got ahead of us and he had to come back and get us.
Yeah, I was like,
couldn't.
We're not going past that midget.
Because a little man was just throwing that ball, and then the cornfield. Remember? And
girl,
we were in the corn. We were in the cornfield, and we were walking the maze in the little cornfield thingy, and we got around the corner, and the big dude.
Oh, it was the big dude with the chainsaw.
Like with the Jason mask, and he
my
was
God.
Vroom, vroom,
vroom,
and
vroom.
We started to run back the other way, and we both fell over a bale of hay, and our shoes fell off, and we were on the ground.
We didn't just fall over a bale of hay. Girl, we fell into the wall of the haunted house. The whole wall fell over. the boards all bruised my back. I had bruises all over my body. So the boards all bruised my back because we fell over into this wall. The guy's got a chainsaw. We wake up screaming hysterically, and we go to run out of the haunted house, and that guy's chasing us out into the parking lot.
Yes.
Okay, I'm never going to one again in my life.
Yes. I'm good. But you know what? We did laugh. It's funny.
We did laugh, but we also screamed and cried a lot.
Did. Yes, we did.
I think we laughed after.
That was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Okay,
Good memories.
I did that for you. But by the way, in that little travel thing to the haunted house, that was not a very good perk of modeling. That was not one of your travel perks.
No, that was not. Okay, so.
But you did do a tour, a national tour.
Yes.
For Simon Malls.
Right.
Which is the company that runs most of the big malls around all the big cities in the United States. And there was a tour of Houston models that they chose to do this really neat national tour.
So much fun.
So much fun. And stay for 3 or 4 days in each city or a week in each city.
Yeah.
And do these fashion shows every day.
Yeah.
And Mariah was on that tour for a few years. Yeah. And I know y'all had some fun there and also some crazy things happening on those.
Think about 6 or 7 years. We were always pranking each other.
Yeah.
And we really became family. We should do a reunion of some sort because we all got to know each other really, really well.
Oh, yeah. Some more better than others.
Some better than others. Yeah. We, at the end of the 7 or 6 weeks, whatever we ended up getting of touring, we would all be like, man, I'm sick of you. I do not want to see you.
Yeah.
I don't know what your problem is. Like, you're not a morning person. You knew who to talk to in the morning because if they had their coffee or who not to talk to, you knew who was going to go to bed first. Usually it was me. I may party one night out of the whole tour and then save it for the last day or something.
To do something. Yeah, I did. I filled in for one of the girls in the New York tour.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
But it's not really New York. Where do y'all stay?
We were in White Plains.
Y'all were in White Plains.
That's not New York. And you're like, I'm going to the city.
And I was like, Mama ain't staying here. We're close to New York, but we're not in New York. So I'm going to take the train. And everybody's like, that's a 45-minute train ride. I'm like, so?
You and Winnie.
So I have this roommate, Winnie, beautiful, tall, African girl that was like 20 years old. Yeah. 21. Yeah. And I was like, well, no, don't go with me. And I'm like, Winnie, you going with me to New York City. To Manhattan. And she was like, huh? And so I ended up talking to her and taking the train with me to go meet some other models that I had met over the years that were living in New York. So we went out, did it big, but we had to leave at 7 a.m. to fly back to Houston. And at some point, the train stopped running. To get back, and we were 45 minutes away. I can't even remember how we got home.
Did you have to do a taxi?
I think we ended up in a taxi because we couldn't get on the train and it was late. It was like 5, 6 in the morning. We rolled in. Y'all were already on the van.
Yes.
Waiting downstairs. The van was outside. Y'all were sitting in the lobby.
Yes.
And we come running in, hadn't packed our bags up in the room. Nope. We were supposed to be leaving in 10 minutes.
Yep.
And thank God our booker, Eric, was sick.
Yes.
Thank God.
The only
reason we made it.
Y'all didn't have to catch another cab to the airport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he didn't feel good and he was in his room.
Yes.
And so thank goodness we got in and had time to grab our bags and run back down. And then it was just so funny to me because here I am getting this cute little 21-year-old or 20-year-old in trouble.
But you got your New York fix.
It was super fun. Yeah. I wish everyone had gone with me. I was like, what is wrong with you people?
I have one other place, though, that I went to. I used to work for this company called Harold Powell. And they were an upscale boutique. And I worked for them for probably about 7 years. And every month they took us to some exotic place to shoot. Yeah, they were one of my bestest clients ever. And this last place that we went to before they started to trim everything down, they flew me in. I had a print job or something and I couldn't fly in with everybody else. They flew me in the following day. And so I flew into Acapulco and then I must have been they had someone with my name, to pick me up.
Mariah.
Mariah. And I don't know why. For whatever reason, I did not check to have my phone transferred over so that I could use my phone in Acapulco, right? So I couldn't use my phone. I couldn't call my family and let them know that I landed. I couldn't let them know that I'm with the driver. I couldn't even call the client to tell them, hey, I'm with the driver. The driver did not speak English, and I definitely didn't speak Spanish. So I'm in the back of the van, and literally we're going over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go, and the ocean's out there, and it's like all of this, and I just started getting car sick, and I was just like, and he pulled over, and I opened that sliding door, and I was sitting there, and I was just like, so I had to let that go, right? Then we get back in the car, and then we're
at this point in
driving.
time, he doesn't speak English. You have no idea
He doesn't.
why it's taken so long,
I don't
where
know.
you're going.
Don't know where I'm
What
going.
is happening?
Don't know anything. They could have told me.
They
you're
could be
gonna
trafficking you.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
That is what I thought. So we're going through these little shanty towns where the kids are running up to the car, and they're like, you know, they want you to give them something.
Yeah.
And I was like, why are we slowing down? Like, bro, go chop, chop, go faster, go faster. And then we drive down in a remote, like a ravine that is dried up, like the bridge had collapsed, but you're driving down in it and you're going back up out of it. And I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? I was so scared. We go through some more winding roads, and then we pull up to a place where there is a barricade over. And then this dude comes down out of a tree.
What?
And I was like, what the hell? He came down out of a tree where he had a rifle on the back of him. And I was like...
He was like hiding or sleeping or taking a nap in the tree.
It was a little thing up there. Like a little... a clubhouse or something. Like, I don't know, it was a little house
like
up
a little
there in the
house,
tree.
like a lookout.
House. Yeah, lookout. And he was up in there, and he climbed down, and I was like, he has a gun. I'm done. Okay, but I'm gonna go out fighting. Let me just get ready. Let me get my earrings off, because I'm coming out of this car swinging. I'm coming out of here swinging. They will get nothing from me. I'm going to die trying, okay? So they say something in Spanish, and then they open the barricade.
Oh, you thought you were getting taken.
Oh, I thought I was taken, girl.
Yeah.
I was going. Liam Neeson was going to get on the phone and say, I have a certain set of skills.
Yeah, and I'm going to come find you. Don't you worry. You wish Liam Neeson come and found you.
Absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely.
God.
So we're going around another winding road, right? And then we get around there, and all of a sudden it's paradise. It is freaking paradise.
That's how it works
My
in Mexico.
client is standing there laughing, just laughing, and everybody is dressed in white. I mean, the white is so white. It's almost has a bluish kind of tint to it. It's
Right?
just so
Oh, you were
white
just so
and
happy.
bright. And I was like, y'all are wrong for that. Y'all shouldn't have done that to me. And they were laughing. They're like, Mariah, you thought you were a goner, huh? You thought we sold you into sex slavery. And I was like, yeah, I thought I was gone. And there were like, and you know, I don't do lizards. I don't do any kind of
No bugs, guys. I'll tell you a bug story in a minute.
But there were lizards, girl, big old iguanas just running all around the thing. And I was like, that lizard is too big. Like, oh my God, keep him away from me. And they gave me a little drink with an umbrella. And they're like, oh, the whole crew is over there on the little island. I was like, the little island? And they're like, yeah. So I was like trying to grab my bag. And they're like, no, we got it. Just follow him. So I'm following this guy, and I get in a rowboat with my cocktail, and I get in a rowboat.
What?
And they're boating me over to this island. And I'm like, this is so cool. And I could hear music. I could hear like this you know, the music that kind of makes us go, hey, hey. And so I hear the music getting louder and louder. And then I get over to the island, and the guy helps me out of the boat. And everyone, the whole crew, all the other models, makeup artists, everybody, they're all jamming out at this bar at
Yeah, because they're shooting probably the next day, right?
Because the shoot's going to happen the next day. And so they're like, Mariah, you made it. Oh my God, They told me they played a trick on you. And I was like, yeah, that was not cool.
Oh my gosh, they did that on purpose?
They did it on purpose. They did it on purpose. They thought it would be funny, you know, and that was
they know you were having like a mini heart attack.
I was having a mini heart attack.
Cool.
That was
that's not cool, man.
But I was a good sport because the place really made up for it. So they took me to my room. They're like, Mariah, you got to see your room. You got to see your room. So I go around to my room. And my room, and there's no electricity at this place. This is like a sanctuary. There were no cell phones. There was no TV, no nothing.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Everything was just candlelight and whatever. Okay. There was a 50-foot tower you could climb to use your cell phone if you needed to use your cell phone. And that was on the other island. So you had to go get the rowboat and go over to the other place for that. So they take me to my room. My bed was on this big high thing and it had this netting that covered the mattress.
Yeah, you mean the insect.
Yes, it was absolutely beautiful. And then the big bay windows with the shutters that you just pull open and they face the ocean. They all face the ocean. And I opened my windows and girl, big old orca whales jumping up.
What?
Flapping their tails. And I was like, oh,
are you kidding?
That's a whale. And I was like,
I want to go there.
I'm not going to get in that. That was.
Are you sure those were orcas?
That girl, it was black. And when they jumped up, they were black with the little white, the little white underbelly.
Orcas somewhere outside of Acapulco?
Girl, they were flapping their big black tails. And they told us you cannot go in that water because there's a major drop off. So they were like right there.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Why were they there? I don't know.
I love them. So I'm going wherever you went.
I know. It's called Hotel Lito.
Oh, I'm going.
Hotel. I know
I'm
you
writing
would.
that down too. Girl. Don't go to the hotel in New Orleans. Arkansas? Nope. But go to the Hotel Lito. And I'm jumping in the water.
It was absolutely beautiful. I mean, now.
Yeah, that's an incredible job.
I'll tell you. I know the difference between a dolphin and a whale.
Yeah.
That was a whale. That was a whale. It was bigger. It was bigger.
And black and white.
It was black and white. Yeah.
That's so amazing.
But,
there were a bunch of orcas
it was
right there.
Like right there. And I don't know why they were there, but they were jumping up and flapping their tails. And I was just like, oh my God. But they did tell us you cannot get in the water because there's like a major drop off. And a bunch of orcas. And a bunch of orcas. Yeah. And they had baby turtles that were coming up out of the sand, girl, trying to make their way to the water every morning.
I'm going to Lido.
Yeah, you would be
Hotel Lido. It's all me.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
all
you.
over
That
it.
sounds like a Pam place. Yeah.
I'm excited.
Big iguanas and everything. Yeah, you could do it.
Yeah.
I'm good. I don't need to go anymore. I've seen it once.
I one time, because she's so afraid of bugs and they're so afraid of everything, and you and your girls were in the car. Y'all had dropped me off for something or come by my house to get something. And I just love playing pranks on people. And I bought a bag of rubber roaches. Do you remember this? And I thought, oh, this is going to be a little joke. I'm going to play a little joke on the girls and on Mariah because I know they hate bugs. So I go over there and I just take a handful of these roaches and I lean into the driver's side. Mariah's on the driver's side. The girls are sitting, one's there and one's in the back. And I just kind of like leaned over and talking to her and I just kind of throw the roaches and I'm like, woo! And you would have thought I had thrown poisonous gas in that car.
Oh my God. I bet we almost tore that car up getting out of there.
You tore the car up. You guys lost your minds. And I felt so bad because I was like, wow, those rubber roaches really.
Yeah, girl, we don't do bugs.
I mean, they lost their minds. They come screaming out of that car like it was on fire. And I kept saying, they're rubber. They're rubber. They're rubber. They didn't care if they were rubber.
No,
girl. They look like a roach. They look real. You're going to call it a roach.
It's a roach.
It feels rubbery. It could be a roach. So anyway, that was so hysterical to me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
absolutely.
And I always like to, there's another funny story too, just while we're here. There's another one I wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
Was back in the day when we were modeling, we did a lot of shows in clubs. We did a lot of shows in bars. That was a big thing in the 80s.
It was.
Okay, so
North Beach Leather.
North Beach Leather. We were North Beach Leather because he liked a body. So anybody that kind of had a little bit of curve, a little bit of boob.
Right.
did North Beach Leather, and that was so much fun. But it was always at a club.
Right.
What was that one underground too? That one underground.
That was Power Tools.
Power Tools.
Yeah.
We did a lot of shows at Power Tools.
Yep.
And then our times off, Mariah would say, "Hey, girl, go out. My friend has a thing at a place, a little bar. They're having a thing, or they got a band." And I'd be like, "Yeah, okay, here we go," because she likes the brothers, only dates brothers, and so every one of her things was at some really nice African-American black club. And we would go in there and I'd be the only person that wasn't black in the whole club. And
only white chocolate in there.
And I didn't care. But can you imagine me walking around? I smile at everybody. Yes. So I'm walking around the club like, hi, girls, boys. And you're just like, tone it down. Like, stop with the weird smiling. And then one time I was dancing and you were like, stop dancing. And I was like, why? I think I danced pretty good. And you were like, just don't, not right now. And I just laugh when I think back in those times because.
But you took me to a place too.
Oh, I did?
You introduced me to Johnny Lang.
That's right. I took Mariah to Johnny Lang.
Girl, you introduced me to Johnny Lang and I was like, who is this boy? I like him. I downloaded all his music. But remember, I was talking. Do you remember, Pam? I was talking to a person. I don't know who it was. Somebody was talking to me.
So Johnny Lang's playing and Mariah is chatting with the person that's next to her. And
yes, I'm chatting with them because he's chatting with me. And this lady shushed me.
Behind you, shushed you, yeah.
And I was like, anyway, yada, 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 yada. Shh, stop talking. You don't shush me. You don't shush me in a concert. This is a concert. I can talk in here if I want to. Pam is like, Mariah, come on. I said, you better get her. Pam, you better get her. You better get her. Can you not talk at white concerts? Like, what the hell? What is going on?
No, you can't. I don't know. That lady just had a stick up her butt, but it was so funny.
That was so
She was not
funny.
Expecting you to
she was not.
Come back at her.
No. Yeah. But I mean, I looked at her twice. That was the hint. Like,
yeah, that was the hint. Like, don't be shushing me.
That was the hint. You don't shush me. Like, because concerts are loud.
It was so loud in there. You couldn't even hear yourself.
Like, you're trying to, what? Lady, move downwind then if my talking is bothering you.
Right?
Because
move two people over and there's 400 people in the audience.
Yeah, he wasn't singing a ballad or anything. It was, and anyway, I love him now, girl. I love him some Johnny Lang.
I'm so glad you got this sexy white boy musician guy that you like now.
He's good. He's good. Yeah.
Well, I am first of all, I want to say that I'm just really happy to have had friendship with you for so long.
Absolutely.
And I know that like us modeling for the last 40 years is what a blessing, but how few people have lasted this long in the industry doing only this. But now, as we get older, we're doing a little less modeling jobs. You're forced to kind of go out and do other things.
Yes.
But you've really pretty much stayed in the industry. So now you've started a business where you teach runway to other people, which you've always taught runway classes at like the agency.
Yes.
But now you've started your own individual runway company where you can teach pageant girls, models, regular old individuals, how to walk, how to stand, how to poise themselves. And you've become highly successful at this. So will you just tell me, are you a sponsor of one of the pageant systems?
Yes, I'm a sponsor. I'm a state sponsor for Texas USA and Miss Texas USA, Miss Texas Teen USA.
Wow.
And it's been also San Antonio USA, Miss Texas, San Antonio USA, Miss Texas Teen, Miss San Antonio Teen, also New Mexico.
Okay.
Also New Mexico.
That's so cool.
So I have, I was introduced to this through a former model, Megan Cherry, formerly Megan Ellis.
Megan,
She was a Miss Texas before, and she was the trainer for the contestants.
I did not know
she
that.
was one of the coaches.
Okay.
Yes. And she didn't want to do it anymore. She was like, Mariah, I just think I'm too close to it.
Yeah.
She was like,
and she's busy having little babies right now.
Yeah. So she was like, I'm trying to find someone. I think you'd be great at it. So she introduced me to Gail and Al Clark. At the time, they were the directors of the pageant. And I had to meet with them and give them a little bio of myself and tell them what I've been doing all these years. And they were like, we'd love to have you. And so they brought me on as a sponsor. So since 2012, I believe.
Wow. It's already been that long.
It's already been that long. Time waits for no one.
Yeah.
And literally, just as things, because our market, the modeling market did kind of crash at one point. We lost a lot of, we used to have 2 Neiman Marcuses and 2 Saks and Marshall Fields and Lord and Taylor and the Dillards.
And some print work that just went bye-bye.
Print work and Foley's was bought out by Macy's.
And it's awful.
And we lost a lot of print clients. We lost a lot of clients. So the industry kind of crashed a little bit and
which means we lose a lot of money.
We lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
Even that store, that Harold Powell that took us on all those fabulous, they went bankrupt, and that of course takes money away from you and out of your pocket. And so I was able to parlay what I've done for years, because for the longest, I never knew what my passion was. I never knew what my calling was. Right. I never knew what my purpose was.
Right.
I didn't know. All I knew was, I can make my friends stop crying and make them laugh. And, I was always the jokester, and you're not going to be sad around me. You're going to be happy. I'm going to change your attitude. I knew I did that, but I still never knew why God made me. I never knew that. And once I started working with these pageant girls, I started to pour into them, and it becomes a ministry almost, and these young kids, I'm with some of them from the time they're not driving to the point where they start driving themselves to their lessons, and they're getting married and going to proms and homecomings and getting married and having children. And I've been around for all of that with a lot of them. I just went to one of my clients. She was actually one of my second clients that I ever had in the pageant world. She just got married this past weekend, and I went to her wedding, and I remember being there with her when she was 15 years old, and just being a fixture in their lives and pouring into them and mentoring them. And you'll get a young lady that will sit at the very back of the room and won't want to come up and even talk to you. And by the time you're done training them, they're walking in with thigh-high boots and 5-inch heels and straight hair weave down to their waist, and walking in and commanding the room and owning it. And it's like, who is this person? Right. But you bring them out of their shell. You let them know, hey, you have something to offer the world, whether you win a pageant or not. Exactly. Let me pour into you. Let you change the atmosphere when you walk into a room. I always say, when a woman enters a room, at least 5 people should turn around to see who she is. Oh, wow. And if they don't, then I need you to walk back out, get it together, and walk back and come back in.
Girl.
Yeah.
That just gave me chills.
That part.
That was like such a simple statement, but that just gave me chills.
Yeah.
That is so true. I always talk about this too when you're talking about runway training, and it's so much more than just runway. It's about poise and presentation, and like you said, commanding attention. And not that you need to command attention, but even in an interview, a job interview, if you want to get the job, and there's 5 people going in for the part of the lawyer or the engineer or whatever that interview is for, the person that's going to command a little bit more attention and have more poise, which they can learn from someone like you, is probably going to get the job. It's just there's something about when you have that confidence and you can walk into a room and you can look someone right in the eyes and you can say hello and you can speak and hold yourself and sit well. So that is one amazing positive. So if anybody wants to take classes from Mariah, just so they can walk into a room and command attention, I highly recommend it. Yeah. And I see you wore shoes just for the occasion,
just to sit.
But the logo of Off the Runway, is a Louboutin. So
is it really?
Yeah, girl, I thought you knew.
I did not know.
You just happened to wear it. It's a black Louboutin with the red bottom, girl.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Oh, see.
Yeah.
Okay, y'all.
I thought you did that on purpose, darling. Anyway, I don't want to touch on it for too long, but there's something really big that happened in your life.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to dwell on it too long because it's not really industry related, but Mariah had a pretty bad accident that happened some years ago. And it wasn't just a simple accident. She was hit by a semi truck. And tell me a little bit about that.
I was having the most wonderful day that day. And my nephew was about to get married in the hill country. And my mom had just come in town. And I was like, Mom, let me go and get the wedding gift and you go and get your nails done. That was the best thing I could have ever done, was send her to go do that, because she would have been in the car with me. And I remember going to pick up the wedding gift, and I was walking out of Macy's and I was smiling. I was just, so you have those days where everything is right and the weather is beautiful and you just feel good. And not every day is like that for us, like something might have you down, but for some reason that day just felt so right. And I remember getting in the car and I called my soon-to-be niece-in-law and I said, hey, do you need me to, should I bring the gift or should I just leave it at home since you guys will have to transport it back anyway? She was like, oh, just leave it and we'll get it when we come back. And I was like, okay, cool. So I got on the freeway and I'm driving, and for some reason I was the only one where I was on the freeway at that time. It's kind of rare. And I'm driving and there's nothing in front of me, and I'm driving and I'm playing music and I'm smiling. I am so happy. And then all of a sudden it was like, wham, I hit something or something hit me. It literally felt like someone grabbed me by my feet and slammed me to the concrete is what it felt like. And I remember just instantly going limp. And you can't really, I guess I'm about to share this with the world, but I was no longer in my body. I was on the outside of my body. And the first thing I thought about was my children. I said, oh, Cam and Kay. And then I thought, I can't do anything about this. And I just surrendered. I gave up in that moment, but I could see my body being thrashed about my car. And I'm looking at that. And then the next thing I see is the front end of my car is underneath this truck. And the truck is going down the freeway and my truck is underneath. My SUV is underneath the front wheelbase, the back wheelbase of this truck. And all of a sudden, I guess the truck stopped and my truck spun around and now it's heading 45 north, but I'm in the south lane, but it's headed back toward oncoming traffic. And I'm looking at all of these cars just headed for me. And my SUV is just headed right for all these cars. And all of those cars just stopped around my car like that. And my car just spun and it stopped like this. And there was cars here, 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 and here, all around my car. And I felt something go, and then
the breath just came back in you?
Yeah, like the breath came back in me. And I was sitting there and I had my head down and blood was pouring out of from up top somewhere. I don't know where it was coming from. It was just pouring down in my lap. And I go like that and there's blood all over my hand. And then someone's beating on my window saying, open the door, open the door, open the door, open the door, open the door. And then I'm dazed. I'm just so dazed. And I'm reaching because I'm trying to figure out how to open the door. And I open the door. And then this guy, he says, hold on. And he ran and got 2 rags. And they were clean. He just grabbed 2 rags, and a lady jumped in behind me. And she said, I'm a nurse. Don't move. And she held my head straight. the guy comes back with 2 rags, and of course my forehead was split open, so it's like they're split open and down through here, and that's where the blood was coming from.
Mhm.
And he says, hold that on your head and squeeze your hand with the other hand. So I'm squeezing my hand, and I said, did I do something wrong? And he said, no, you didn't do anything wrong. That truck hit you. It came over on you. And then I looked down the road, and the truck was all the way down, way down. It was way down. And the EMS was called, and they hauled me off and had to call my mom and my sister. And thank God my mother was not in the car, because the whole right side of the car was just torn up, and the front end was smashed to the windshield. And I go, and long story short, 11 procedures later,
Yeah.
I had been under anesthesia at least 11 times for surgeries. And I had 2 major cervical fusions done on my neck. I have a titanium plate, 4 screws, and I have 2 artificial discs in my neck. The doctor who did my surgery, an amazing surgeon, he said, technically you should be paralyzed from the neck down or dead.
What's his name?
Dr. Koteka.
Koteka. Good for that guy.
He's an amazing doctor, but he said your neck went like that.
Yeah.
And like that.
Yeah.
Which means you could have broken your neck. But God, completely. I am still here.
There you go.
My nerves have been cut all down my back so that I don't feel the tingling and the numbness and the pain.
Yeah. I brought that up because I don't, I'm just people, for them to truly understand this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to cry.
Yeah.
I felt it.
You felt
but I'm not going to do it this time. But for people to truly understand that she's gone through years of suffering.
Yeah.
And when I say years of suffering, there's been days where she's like, I can't get out of bed.
Yeah.
Months where she hasn't been able to get out of bed. And this has been, how long was that whole thing with all the procedures? 10 years?
7 years.
7 years. Okay. So 7 years.
Yeah.
And so this pretty woman, this beautiful woman that's made a living out of modeling had 7 years of suffering.
Yeah.
So I'm super glad you're back.
Yes.
And you're not suffering anymore. She suffered from migraines
every day.
She suffered from horrible side things from the broken spine.
Yeah.
And so I'm just tickled to death that you're back, and I love you so much.
I love you too.
So on a positive note, because I'm not going to dwell on that. God brought you out of that, and you are back. I just want to touch really quick on what's one of the most exciting things, designers maybe you've met, because I want people to know you've walked in millions of runway shows, and you've walked with thousands of designers, and you've done some incredible things that I know people at home would be so excited to hear. Yeah. But can you think of any moment where, because you've been the finale of a million shows, you've been the opening of a million shows, not just in shows, and you've just done some incredible things. Is there a moment that really made you feel like, that you walked out with a designer, or that just a moment where you're like, this was incredible. What an incredible moment.
I've always said you're only as good as your last show.
Yeah.
Because once it's over, that moment is gone. And it does feel so good when you're out on the runway, and, but you'll never walk the exact same way. You will never feel the exact same energy. Everything is going to be different every time you do it. There was one designer back in the day, Mary McFadden.
Oh, yeah. Mary McFadden was awesome.
She was a very strange looking woman.
Yes.
And I always wanted to work for her because her clothes were just so goddess-like. And I remember working for her. I did multiple shows for her, but it's just one in particular. I believe she had come to Isabel Gerhardt. Do you remember that beautiful store
100%.
with the stairwell?
Gorgeous.
And everything? She had come there to do a big show one evening, and I was just like, oh my God, she's there. And she was just so quiet and intimidating, but Oh my goodness. That sealed the deal for me when I got to work for her, because she was a designer that I would have on my walls and stuff
Right. That you had
in my
looked up
room that I
to
looked up
and
to.
admired, and
Yeah.
then you got the opportunity to not only
Yeah.
meet her, but to wear some of her clothes and
Yes.
walk in a show and
And have her
represent her.
talk to you
Oh my gosh, right?
and look at you and
Yeah.
then give you the compliment. Oh my God, you look amazing in this. And because she doesn't have to say, designers, they'll tell you in a
Of
minute, I want
course.
that on someone else.
Sometimes they don't even make eye contact with you.
Yeah.
You do shows and here comes the designer, and sometimes you're just passed up.
Oh,
Sometimes
yeah.
they take notice, but those moments are such a, it's
Yes.
such a nice energy.
Yeah.
And like you said, every show is so completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the part that's exciting. Anything in the entertainment industry,
Yes.
a performance is exciting because you get that excitement and you get that happy anxiety.
Yeah.
And it's like somehow that keeps you going. That keeps
That's
you
right.
going to the next gig that may not be as exciting or something terrible happens. So, and I don't want to end on this, but I do want to know, was there anything ever really horrible that happened on the runway? Anything, we've had a million things happen, but is there anything that you can remember, a couple of things? Tell me something. Tell me something, girl.
When I first started modeling, okay, when this was in Louisiana, and when things don't fit, you're supposed to tell
someone
that it doesn't fit. Like, this is too big. I need something smaller, or like it's falling off of me. When you go do the try on, you're supposed to let them know. Well, I didn't want to make waves because I was new.
Right.
So I go in, and this dress, I was probably a 0. And this dress was every bit of a
4,
8.
Oh, goodness.
Probably 8, or could have even been a 10.
Yeah.
I don't know. But what I did was I zipped it up, and I put my little half bra on, and I put shoulder pads, socks, whatever I could get, because I did not have what I have now. Okay. I was still coming into my body at that time. So I didn't have what I got now. So I'm sitting there and I'm filling my bra with things to fill out the dress, and thinking I'm gonna hold my arms,
right,
close to me
to hold the dress
up. Okay.
I've been there.
Baby, why didn't I just say it didn't fit?
Oh no.
So this was a mall fashion show, and I go out there and I'm walking, but remember, what wasn't right about me? My arms, right? So they immediately released the dress. My arms released the dress.
They just went
a-flapping. And girl, I got down to the end of the runway and I did my little side thing and this guy goes, and
it fell down?
The dress was down here.
But what all was in your bra?
Socks, shoulder pads, you name it. I had stuffed it in that bra to try to build up.
Oh, God.
And the dress had fallen down to here. And I was mortified, but I laughed and I pulled it up and I just went tongue in cheek, and I was just like, and every time I came out, everybody clapped like, oh, she's back out. Oh, she's back out.
Yeah, they were giving you props.
They were giving me props. But girl, I was like, that will never, ever happen to me again. Mm-hmm. Y'all, this doesn't fit. Like, give me something that fits. And I learned, hey, if it doesn't fit, just tell them and let them pull because the dress came down here.
Girl.
I was mortified.
I mean, in this industry, it's like you learn by fire.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you just get thrown into the fire and you're like, oh, okay, note to self, that'll never happen again.
That'll never happen again.
And I've had that kind of stuff happen a million times too, where you just you think you can handle it.
Yeah.
And then it's embarrassing. Or your bra shows, but like you didn't have the right bra, or you had on a bra that had a big stain on it.
Yeah.
Whatever that is, that was more horrifying than a normal bra. It always happens that way.
Yeah.
It shows and you're like, it wasn't just a bra.
Yeah.
That had a stain and a tag and a, So that is really hysterical. Anything else you can think of like that as you got older, that shoe slipped off, bra poked out?
Oh, yeah. About
something busted.
Maybe 3 months ago, 3-4 months ago, I was doing a show
story.
for Lenny. Yeah. And I had a shoe mishap. I put my shoe on. I had the little strap over and the ankle strap, and got out there on the runway and got halfway down the runway, and the strap broke. That was across my toes. And so you know what that means. the shoe was hanging on my foot because it's still buckled at my ankle.
Right.
And I immediately stopped because I have to stop. So what do? And the average model that's a new model probably would not know what to do.
Right. True.
But we know how to improvise immediately. So I'm halfway down the runway and I just stop. And what I did was I said, only me, only me, only me. And everyone just started clapping. So I just started dancing on the runway a little bit.
There you go.
You know, I wasn't going to go all the way down to the end because my shoe was going to keep
broken.
wrapping. And so I stood there and I just started backing up, going back the other way. And I turned and I was getting the audience all hyped up and they were standing up and clapping and laughing. And they cheered me on all the way off the runway. And they were like, Mariah, that was fabulous. Lenny was like, oh my God, thank God that happened to you. Oh my God, thank you, Mariah.
Yeah,
thank you, Mariah. That was amazing.
Exactly.
You know,
like a lot of young girls wouldn't have known how to handle
they
that.
would not have known.
What was the show we just did recently? And I'm trying to help lace up your boots and I couldn't get them laced up before you went out. And you went out with a designer and you came back and your boots were all falling. And I was saying, I'm so sorry.
Yes, because that was the show for Carmen.
Oh, that's right.
And I was like, oh my God, they did not go all the way up.
No, they weren't even laced up.
No.
I was just, you had to go out and they were screaming for you. So I just took those laces and wrapped them around your boot.
Yeah.
But by the time you came back, those boots were just flopping.
Hanging down, yeah.
But
I made it back. They didn't do the final flop until after I made it.
Because for a split second, I thought this is not the horror story where I tied her shoes.
No.
I'm so glad.
I recovered from that one. That was an easier recovery than that shoe breaking on the runway.
Goodness.
Yeah.
So just to ask you before we go, would you recommend modeling to a young person? And if you were going to recommend modeling to a young person, what advice would you give them about entering into this business?
So what I tell people when they even think they want to get into modeling, I let them know it's not easy.
Right.
And everyone is not going to like you. And that's okay.
Or be nice.
Or be nice to you. If you cannot handle rejection, this is the wrong industry for you. Let it go. You have to have thick skin. You cannot take what everyone says as a final synopsis of who you are as a person. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea, and you got to be okay with that. You have to be able to dust your shoulders off and move on to the next booking. If one person doesn't want you, be okay with that and move on to the next. If this is something you want to do, if you have thin skin, don't do it.
Exactly.
Because this business has been known to eat its own.
It will eat you up.
It will eat you up alive. And you have to be okay with rejection. You have to be okay not knowing why you didn't get the job. I don't care why I didn't get the job. I will never call to ask my agent, why didn't I get the job? I'm just not going to do that. Get me the next one. I only care about the next one.
Right.
So that's what I would tell anybody who wants to get into this. Get into it for the right reason. Treat it like a job. Don't treat it like a hobby because it's not that. It's tough. It's tough, and you have to have thick skin in order to do it.
That is incredible advice, because another thing I tell people is if you're getting into modeling for the ego part of it, in other words, to say you're a model, to feel like you're a model, to feel like being a model is somehow going to validate who you are as a human, then absolutely never get into this business.
That's right.
Because that industry is not going to do any of those things for you.
No.
If anything, it's going to knock you down, and you're going to have to be strong so you can move forward. So I want people to know that the people that have longevity in this business are super strong and have a great backbone, because if they didn't, they would not have lasted.
Would not.
And you know, as much as you get knocked down, not even if people are doing it on purpose or not, as much as you get knocked down in this industry, your insecurity would be so high that you wouldn't even be able to go up function.
You wouldn't have, you would not be able to function. And I always tell them, don't let this be your everything.
Right.
Find something else. College is not for everyone, but if it is your thing and you're going to start your modeling career, do a class a year, a semester, do something, but have something to fall back on so that no one can tell you who you are. You need to know who you are.
Right.
And when you have something else to fall back on, when a client decides, hey, I'm not booking you anymore, you're like, good, because I just sold a $1.2 million house.
Yeah.
I'm Gucci.
Exactly.
Okay. Like you're not going to make me or break me, whether or not you book me.
Exactly. But basically you're saying find another industry, find something else to make money at so that A, when it's slow, or B, when people stop booking you or decide they don't want to book you, or you have a slow month, you don't have to scramble. Now we've scrambled for years because for some reason we didn't get that advice until later in life. And so we kept just going, oh, wow, slow month, but how am I going to pay the electric bill? So this is not an industry to get into unless you know you're going to bust your butt to make it to be the best you can be and hustle so you can make ends meet with it. If you're not doing that, you're not going to make it in this industry. At least not, there's short times that you're rolling in the dough. I mean, I had a few years in LA, girl. I went down and got myself a Jag, Those were the good years when I was young and I was doing every fashion show. I'm like, I got extra money. Why don't I just go lease a Jag?
Yeah.
That was the dumbest thing I ever did in my life.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
3 years later when things slowed down for me, I was like still working, but I was like, I got 2 more years of this Jag.
What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when something happens that's out of your control, like my car accident,
Exactly.
I didn't go to college. I went to college one day. I tell everybody I went one day because I knew this was what I wanted to do. And it took off for me. And so I just didn't see it. And I didn't see a reason to not do what I wanted to do all my life. So I started doing that. And every time I got ready to go back to college or go to college, I was like, I'm working too much.
Right. You got a good gig.
I couldn't fit it in. And so I wouldn't want any model to go through what I went through.
Mm-hmm.
I was just very, very fortunate enough that I had clients that were already established, that were constantly coming to me. So even when I was in my recovery from my accident and going through all of those surgeries, I was still training.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like air traffic control. I'm like, shoulder back and one hand and 2 hands and hold 2, 3, 4 there. And they know exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
So I had very few new clients, but I had a lot of reoccurring clients that just kept coming back to me.
I remember you would be in horrible pain and I'm like, why are you going to go to work? And you're like, I'm just going to do it, girl. You're like, I'm going to get through it. I can get through 4 hours of being there and I can get back home and crawl back into bed. So I'm super proud of you for doing that. But the fact that you made it in this entertainment industry during a 7-year, basically broken back and hiatus is incredible.
Yeah.
And I love you so much. And I'm just so proud of you for everything you've done. And I'm going to keep sending people your way. And I hope you have another 20 years in the modeling industry and in the training industry and as my friend.
Absolutely. Thank you, girlfriend.
Oh, you're welcome. I love you.
Bunches.
You too.